We all want free parking, but we have to realize that this desire for free parking gets in the way of everything else we want to see happen. There was an evaluation. The average cruising time before parking declined. There were fewer cars driving around hunting for parking. It fell from about 11 minutes on average to about 6 minutes after the first 10 price changes. And the VMT, hunting for parking, fell by about 30%. And the total vehicle miles for cruising in the pilot areas fell by about 2,400 miles a day, but that's almost the distance across the United States. And greenhouse gas emissions, we could always get on, I think it gives me the moral high ground. I think that now we all should be worried about CO2 emissions. And that not only for ourselves, but for future generations. But cheap, free curb parking adds to CO2 emissions. Tickets decline. Why did tickets decline? Well, nobody has to double park. Nobody has to park at fire hydrants. You could park for a longer time if you're willing to pay. Double parking greatly declined. Here's the number of tickets in relation to the occupancy rate. When the occupancy is very high, then there's a lot more double parking and double parking tickets. And the sales tax revenue went up because it's easier to find parking in front of stores, and people have to pay for it, so they park and they buy something and they leave, and somebody else can use the space. And I don't think that charging for parking will hurt poor people. This is a typical complaint about charging for parking. It'll hurt poor people. I think it's people who don't want to pay for parking are just pushing poor people out in front of them like human shields, saying don't charge for parking because it'll hurt poor people, when they don't want to pay for it themselves. I think it's a lot fairer if I pay for my parking and you pay for yours. And somebody who is too poor to own a car shouldn't pay for anyone's parking. Say in San Francisco, all of the parking meter revenue goes to pay for public transit, which is another reason to say that it's ridiculous to think that charging for parking is going to hurt poor people.